In Washington, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise told reporters this week Democrats are worried about President Biden's public perception after that flawed debate performance.
It's interesting to watch the Democrats right now expressing disdain over Joe Biden's performance at the debate. Let's be clear, first of all, the reason so many people are recognizing that Joe Biden did so poorly is because President Trump did so well in the debate.
Republican Senator Dan Sullivan says that defense spending has taken a beating under President Biden's policies.
The Biden administration defense budget every year cuts defense spending. And right now, under the Biden administration defense budget, we're shrinking the Army, shrinking the Navy, can't build Navy ships.
Senator Tom Cotton says the president's weak support for Ukraine was a big factor in Russia deciding to invade in the first place.
Joe Biden tempted Vladimir Putin to go for the jugular in the first place with the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan or early appeasement of Russia in his tenure. And as President Trump said in the debate a couple of weeks ago, that's in contrast to his policy.
Senator Cotton notes that Russia invaded Ukraine during the Obama administration and with President Biden in office, but not when former President Trump was in the White House. This summer's heat wave may be affecting your medications. More details on why that might be from correspondent Keith Peters.
It's raising the danger of heat-related illnesses in a more subtle way by amplifying the side effects of many common medications. Blood pressure medications can lead to dehydration. Beta blockers for heart conditions can decrease blood flow to the skin and make you less aware of dangerous heat. Some antidepressants can hinder your ability to stay cool. Keeping drugs from getting too hot is another consideration. Experts say to check the side effects and storage requirements for your prescriptions. Keith Peters reporting.
This is SRN News.
The following program is sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Get ready with your legal questions and call Patrick now. 877-943-9673. Again, that's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Patrick Smith.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Today is Saturday, July 13th, and we will be with you the next hour answering all of your legal questions, as we do faithfully every week here on the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. If you want to be part of the show, jump in the queue. You can be part of the early caller crowd, 877-943-9673. Again, that's your toll-free line. We have Calvin standing by to screen your calls and get you right on the air with me, Attorney Patrick Smith, 877-943-9673. For those of you new to the program, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. We are a free legal call-in show you hear weekly on about 14, 15 stations, something like that, throughout the state of Florida. So you have one easy toll-free number to reach the law office this morning, 877-943-9673, where you can call in with any of your legal questions that may have arisen throughout the week. Maybe you're calling because a buddy's in a legal situation, or maybe it's another family member, or maybe it's a situation affecting you directly. 877-943-9673. It's been a very, very busy radio week. And I was telling my wife that, I said I wanted to do more radio. And boy, did God answer that prayer, because I used to be a guy that did radio once a week. There was one day this week that I wasn't on the air. That's it. It was Thursday. And that day I had a speaking engagement in the Villages. So I still had a public speaking engagement that day, just no on-air time.
I like how you feel the need to qualify that.
Right. Like it's fascinating. And I saw this great quote that said, never get so lost in your future that you forget you're living in what you prayed for years ago. And I liked that. So it has been a busy week. And thank you, Joe, and thank Bill Bunkley for the opportunity to guest host his show. That was an absolutely fantastic time. And it's one of those things where when you're a Saturday morning guy, first of all, it's a different feel. So not without sounding too arrogant, we have to be one of the top Saturday morning shows. I mean, there's just I can't name another one, but I don't really do a lot of research. When you go to drive time, there are lots of drive time guys. So to feel the weight of what Mr. Bunkley bears every day was different, but at the same time, it felt good. It felt fun. And it was an absolute honor and a privilege to fill in for Bill. So I really appreciated that opportunity. And thank you, listeners, for all the positive messages and feedback. Yes, I do get them, and I really appreciate it. And thank you to a cat named Mo, who had me on his show last night with Wells. That was my first time meeting or working with Wells, and that guy is crazy talented when it comes to radio. He does an amazing job with his news segment. His news segment was just so spot on and easy to riff with, and just a cool guy to work with. So it's been a busy radio week, but we are so thankful to be with you live this Saturday morning. 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. Joe, I'm going to take these couple of calls, and then we'll do the special guest that we want to get on the air. So let's go to Bill in Tampa. Bill, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can we help you today?
Good morning, Patrick. How are you?
I'm great, Bill. What's going on in Tampa?
Oh, the usual, actually, for a Saturday morning. I just wanted to take a moment to call you and thank you very much. My wife and I had such a pleasure meeting you and you helping us with our living will last week at your Clearwater office. Just a pleasure.
Bill, I appreciate you calling in to say thank you. It's the honor and privilege is all mine, and it means the world to me. You took the time to call in and say thank you. So I really appreciate that. Were you guys, you said you're in Tampa. Were you near Raymond James Thursday night, or do you live in that proximity?
We're in North Tampa. We're in the Carrollwood Lutz area.
Okay, so you're not anywhere near the chaos after the Morgan Wallen concert. I heard, absolute horror stories about the traffic with 50,000 people converging on that concert.
Yeah, we purposely avoided that area that evening.
That was a smart thing to do, Bill. And then last night's concert, I guess got canceled. So, but Bill, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate that.
You bet, Patrick. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, Bill. All righty. 877-943-9673. And that's why we do the show. That's why we do the practice, guys. I'm ever thankful for your gratitude for how thankful you guys are that we do the show. So I really appreciate it. 877-943-9673. Yeah. So yesterday I was actually listening to Drew and John on the Bone when I was out running errands, and Sinning was telling a story about how he wanted to leave early to beat the traffic. So he left, but as he was calling his Uber, his phone died as it was confirming the pickup. So he's in the middle of this neighborhood, no cell phone, can't get a hold of anyone. And that's when I had to get out of my car. And when I was coming in for Mo's show, I was actually able to pull him aside and say, hey, what's the end of that story? And he told me basically what happened was he walked up to a limo and knocked on the limo driver's door, and he rolled down his window and he saw his hat and he said, hey, do you work for them? He goes, no, I'm not in that industry. He goes, what industry are you in? He said, I'm in radio. And the limo driver looked at him and said, John Sinning. And he let him charge, and that was the end. So the limo driver saved John Sinning's day, and I thought that was a great ending to that story. So 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. We're going to go to Douglas in Bradenton. Douglas, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can we help you today?
How you doing today?
I'm great, Douglas. What's going on?
I wanted to say thank you. I talked with you 2 weeks ago. I believe you were on the Mike Calta show. And I had some issues with my driver's license. Well, I got the ball rolling. I found a few things. So I was wrong. I had a few tickets out of Manatee County, but also there is a suspension from Okaloosa County. Now, that is where I know you have a million things going on. I was the one that got the Fleming to elude and got 5 years for it, if you remember.
I think you have me confused with the Dom.
No, I talked with you, and I was supposed to call you a following Monday, 1-800-PATRICK.
Okay,
give me your number.
That's me. But the reason why I say that is, as flattered as I am by your comment, I've never been on Mr. Calta's show.
Well, then I might certainly have you confused, but I know you can answer this question.
Go ahead.
I found in the Okaloosa case, it was in a final judgment. There would have been $9,500 worth of restitution. Well, when I got sentenced to the time, in that final judgment, it says that the $9,500, all restitution and all court fees would to be waived since I was going to do the time. Now, since they still in their clerk of courts, they still think I owe them the $9,500. Well, if I have it in black and white, would I just have to go up there, get any old attorney who can read English and go before the magistrate and get this dealt with?
You did call into my show with this. I remember this call. So you may have called into Calta's show too.
Talked to Dom. I think I talked to Dom, and I didn't quite understand what he wanted me to do, and I spoke with you next.
Yeah.
And you're the one that lit the fire under my butt, and I have yet to give up on this, and I'm really understanding it now, but I believe I would have to go up there and get in front of a judge and show the mistake, correct?
Yeah, it sounds like it's just a simple petition. And not in my area of practice. I don't do criminal defense, so either call Dom back or I work with Matt Kendall a lot. He does a lot of my criminal defense work. So I think it's just a matter of getting it cleared up. And I think it's one of those things it's wise to get ahead of it, Douglas, as opposed to just letting it sit there and hoping it goes away. So, give me a call or give the Dom a call, and one of the two of us will get you squared away with whatever you need.
Thank you, sir. I'll be calling you Monday.
All righty, Douglas. I look forward to it. And by the way, it's 844-PATRICK. So if you're calling 800-PATRICK, I don't know what you're going to get, but it's 844-PATRICK or 844-728-7425.
Okay, I got you. 844-PATRICK. That makes a lot more sense now. I didn't get anything.
All right, Douglas. Have a great day. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number. You can go ahead and try to get our guest now, Joe. I think, you're already doing it. Man of 1,000 talents, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joe Weaver, anticipating our needs here on the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. That's your number to be part of today's broadcast. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and that is your number, by the way. If you want to set up your complimentary estate planning consultation in our Clearwater, as Bill mentioned, Sun City Center office and our Sarasota office, which is definitely growing by leaps and bounds. So absolutely firing off on all cylinders down there in Sarasota. So if you want to schedule your complimentary consultation, the number 844-PATRICK, 844-728-7425, 844-728-7425. So give us a call, and we'll be happy to get you scheduled for your complimentary estate planning consultation. So, and it's not always just doing your estate planning for the first time. We talk about this all the time, and it certainly comes up in the office during the week. It is necessary periodically to review your estate planning. I mean, hands down, number one, the most common mistake in estate planning is people don't do it. But a very close second is the fact that people don't update what they've done. So getting it updated is wise, whether it's because you've just let 30 years of your life go by and haven't updated, or if it's people have passed away that you put in key roles, or you've relocated states, the size of your estate has changed drastically. You want to have those things reviewed to maintain optimization, make sure it's kind of like the Taylor analogy works so well. And I always use the Taylor analogy to address people who use pro forma documents. I say that's like going into some facility where you're naked and you walk into a department store, you grab the first set of clothes you see, you put them on. Are you naked anymore? No, you're clothed. Do you look good? Probably not. Because you didn't check sizes, colors, or fashion styles, or any of that. You just put something on, but you're not naked. That's the promise. Versus you go to a tailor that you picked, you have a fitting, you select a fabric, and then now, at the end of it, not only are you not naked, but you look good. I think that's the difference between using pro forma documents and using a licensed attorney. And just like with a tailor, periodically over lifetime, you'll need to have your suit tailored, taken in, more commonly taken out, or whatever the case may be, but you have things modified so that you continue to look good. Well, it's the same with your estate plan. You want to periodically review it. I tell my clients 3 years at the most, but if something changes sooner, call me. And I'll tell you whether or not a meeting's necessary or if it's something we've already addressed. But calling your attorney to check in is never the wrong answer, folks. So 877-943-9673. Speaking of calling your attorney, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local, and we're happy to help any way that we can. The lines are absolutely jammed, so let's clear some out. Let's go to Bradenton and talk to Ben. Ben, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can we help you today?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the show and your service.
Oh, thank you, Ben.
I have a past charge of a Baker Act, and it stopped me from applying for a concealed carry permit because that's one of the exclusions, that prohibits you from getting one. Is there any way to overcome that?
So years ago, I used to do lectures on Title II firearm trust, and I'm not 100% sure because I haven't done that lecture in, gosh, it's probably been 5 or 6 years since I've done that lecture. But I do believe that the Title II firearm trust, there are some loopholes for those who are otherwise not permitted, who can actually obtain certain suppressors or types of firearms using the loophole that Title II firearm trust allow. So if you give me a call at the office on Monday, I know some attorneys who still prepare these sorts of trust. I could put you in touch directly with them, and they can tell you how to either get around the Baker Act or to address it directly. But yeah, I think there was some sort of remedy. I don't think a Baker Act is going to be something where you would be permanently ineligible for certain firearms, but we would have to go back, and it's a federal regulation, and so there's a whole nother set of rules to it, and there are some wonderful attorneys we can introduce you to who that's their primary practice area, actually, or just doing Title II firearm trust.
Love it. Thank you very much.
Ben, good luck to you. How is life now? You said the Baker Act's behind you, so life's good?
Couldn't be better. I'm blessed beyond reason.
See, and I love stories like this, Ben, where, because, and I told a caller last week who had some legal trouble. He's beyond it. He's doing better now. And I'm telling you the same thing, Ben. You're inspiring a lot of people right now because I guarantee you there are a lot of people who just recently went through a Baker Act. And now hearing this from Ben, you're giving them hope and showing them that there's light at the end of that tunnel, Ben. So good for you, Ben. I'm glad things are going well, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Ben. God bless you, Ben. All righty, 877-943-9673. Yeah, don't believe the lies of the enemy. Today's not the end. And I heard a pastor say one time, if you're not winning, that just means the story's not over. And I kind of like that because the story ends with you winning. And I remember hearing a pastor teach a lesson. If you're watching a game that you've recorded and someone happened to tell you your team wins, so you already know your team wins. And then going into the fourth quarter, you get the scenario of, my gosh, we're down by 4 touchdowns. There's 10 minutes to go in the game. But your team wins. So are you afraid? Are you intimidated? Are you scared? No. You're excited because you're like, this is going to be a heck of a comeback story. And I think that's how life works for us. Bad things are going to happen. And I think a lot of people let the bad things sink them. They let the water get inside the boat. But I think the challenge is to say, look, life's going to end well for me. And I'm going to choose to believe that because I have just as much reason to believe that as to believe it's going to end poorly. And when you flip it around that way, just like you're watching that game you already know the end to, you get excited because you know things are going to turn around eventually, just like they did for Ben who called in there. So appreciate that call, Ben. 877-943-9673. All right. Let's go to my home county of Polk and talk to Clifford. Clifford, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How is Polk County today?
It's okay. It's okay. I just have a problem. My daughter have a big problem with her neighbor.
Is your daughter in Polk County too?
Yes.
Do you mind telling me what city in Polk County?
It's Poinciana.
Poinciana. Okay, so you're there on the southern side of Polk County. Go ahead.
Yes. My daughter, most times she is still in New York City, and she has 4 children. So sometimes she is home, and sometimes she's not home. She's in New York. And she came home and noticed our neighbor stretch a light cord from their house to her house, stealing light. And she called the cops so many times, and they come and ring the neighbor bell, and they didn't open the door, and nothing happening, and she's afraid to come out with our kids. So the cop is telling them that they have to find some place and go. That's not right, huh?
So if the neighbor's coming over and running an extension cord, number one, that's theft. They're stealing electricity. So I think there's an action for civil theft there. Number two, there's a trespass because they're coming onto the property. So that's certainly a crime. And I think it's a matter of probably pursuing it both ways, whether the police do anything or not. I think you still file a police report, and I think you get with a good civil litigation attorney and you have them send a cease and desist letter that says, look, you're stealing my electricity. You're trespassing by even coming onto my property. Stop both immediately, or I'll have no choice but to bring legal action against you.
Yes.
And I hate that your daughter's living in fear. You never want to, I mean, you want a neighbor to be a blessing. You want a neighbor to be the guy that you go borrow a cup of sugar from when you're in the middle of making chocolate chip cookies on a Friday night. You don't want your neighbor to be the guy you're afraid of, and you don't want to have to confront him for stealing your electricity. I mean, that's terrible. How young are the kids?
She is so scared that right now she called real estate, want to put the house on sale.
Well, no one deserves to live afraid like that, and I'm sorry that she is, Cliff. But how old are the kids?
One is 16, one is 9, and one is about 7.
All right. And is her husband, or is there a father in the house?
There's no father. That's what's happening. And, whenever the guy see the car is not there and all that, so they know that sometimes she's not there, for she work in New York City some of the time,
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. A lot of people take for granted the fact that they have 2 parents, and we just don't often think that a lot of people grow up with one single parent household or no parents at all or something like that. So it's a blessing out there. If you're out there right now and you're listening and you have 2 parents, drop on your knees and thank God for that today. Not everyone's so blessed to have 2 parents in their lives. So, Cliff, I'll say a prayer for your daughter and her kids, but give me a call, have her give me a call at the office, and we'll put her in touch with a civil litigation attorney who can draft that letter and try to get her some peace of mind. But I mean, even if, that letter is successful and he stops doing it, she's still going to have that fear, Cliff. I mean, you're living next door to a guy who's done this and that trauma has been inflicted. I don't know how you unring that bell.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Cliff, but hopefully things get better. Maybe he'll move.
Well, she's planning to sell, but house don't sell 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get lucky and he'll move out and she won't have to sell.
Yes.
All right, Cliff. Well, give me a call at the office on Monday. That's the 844 Patrick number, and we'll get your daughter squared away with all the help she needs, okay?
All right. Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome, Clifford. All right, you're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and we are in the middle of taking your calls, which is what we do. The heart and soul of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show is answering your legal questions. And when it comes to legal questions, we've had some terrific ones over the years from our next caller. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, Patricia from Lakewood Ranch. Patricia, how's life?
Oh, life is wonderful. Thank you, Pat.
Have you made any new friends?
A few.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Tell me about these new friends. I want to know.
Well, there's just new people who have moved into my area, and just new friends.
Do you go down the hall, and when you meet them,
Well,
do you go and do full Ron and Burgundy with them and say, I'm Patricia from Lakewood Ranch, and I don't know how to say this, but people know me. I'm kind of a big deal.
Mostly at the pool or at the restaurant that is here at our association.
You have a restaurant at your association?
Well, I'm in a condo in a residential area,
I was going to say that's
and
fantastic.
we do have a pool in a restaurant. Well, I guess I should say it's a tiki bar by the pool.
Hold on. Okay, so it sounds more and more like you live at a resort, Patricia. You have a restaurant, a tiki bar, a pool. Is there a
Yeah.
spa?
Yes, there is,
There-
but I don't. It is. It's very, very nice. I'm very fortunate to be able to live here.
Well, that's wonderful, and I'm glad you're making more friends. So, what's your question for us, Patricia?
Well, I was going through everything, and I have a daughter who has special needs, and her HIPAA, I think it's called, the Health Advocates papers.
Yes, ma'am.
They're 20 years old. Should they be redone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would recommend definitely having those reviewed. There were Florida documents.
She resides in Michigan.
Yeah.
So it's a Michigan document. Now, I know he has to sign, and so I will contact probably the attorney that I worked with up there.
That's what I would
And
do. Yeah, because
and
they're anchored in the residency where the party is located, not where you're
Right.
located. So, yeah, we had attorney Joe Weiler on a few shows back in our latest installment of Estate Planning Around the Nation, and we did Florida, Michigan. But if you've already got an attorney that's familiar with your case,
Yeah.
by all means, stick with that. That's going to be far more efficient.
Yeah, that's what got me started in hearing that program. And I thought, I've got to pull those papers out and see how, just when we did them. And when I saw it was 20 years, I got a little concerned.
Yeah.
So I knew you would have the answer to my question because you're my legal eagle.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but absolutely, just give us a call if we can do anything to help. But anything that's 20 years old, I mean, you heard me talking about updating. General rules about 3 years. So
Yeah, well, we've updated all of my things in the last year. But then I thought, I have Mary, and she's a resident of Michigan. She is in one of the most fabulous group home facilities there ever was. And I know it's good because for 20 years I volunteered in the office. So I have a hand on everything that goes on in this group home facility.
well, is it as fabulous as where you live?
No, she doesn't have a restaurant and a swimming pool, but the people who run it are, and the way it's run,
Yeah.
it's just far above most group homes.
Well, that's what you want to hear. You want to know that when you have a loved one in those sort of facilities, that they're getting extra special care and not just not being cared for, but they're being well cared for.
No, and when she comes to visit and everything, and even back when I still lived in Michigan and she would come home for a weekend, she was always anxious to get back. It became her home, just like an apartment would be or a house for any of my other children. That was her residence, and she would come and visit me. And that's what it made it a lot easier to move to Florida, knowing where she was and what she had, because I know I couldn't do it here in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be it would be tough to leave her and have that doubt in the back of your mind. It's great that you have such peace of mind about it, Patricia. But yeah, absolutely. And anything that we can do to help facilitate that, just let me know, okay?
Thank you.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
Enjoy the tiki hut.
I will.
All right. Have a great day, Patricia.
Take care.
Bye-bye. 877-943-9673. That is your live and local number to be part of today's show. I'm the attorney Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. 877-943-9673. That's fine. Let's go ahead and do our story we were going to do, though. So, Mr. Joe Weaver has queued up some audio that will accompany this story. The headline for the story kind of gives it away, and there's so much rich information to unpack in this story, and it comes to us from people.com. And the headline of the story is why Matthew Perry only had 1.5 million in the bank at the time of his death. A legal expert explains. So I love how this headline sort of demonstrates what's going on in mainstream media. So that's theme number one here. Why Matthew Perry only had 1.5 million in the bank account at the time of his death, a legal expert explains. So what most people are going to hear from that is Matthew Perry only had $1.5 million. But as we'll go through the story, we'll sort of see how there's a secondary truth here that's sort of buried under that headline. So as we get into the story, in recent documents obtained by People on July 2nd, an appraisal and an inventory showed the Friends star left behind 1.5 million in his personal bank account. This number was seemingly small, given Perry's success in the entertainment industry, and questions have arisen about where his money has gone. It appears that everything in his will was left to his trust, probate lawyer and director at Weinstock Mannion, Jonathan Forster, who is not involved in the case, explains to People. The rest of Perry's wealth was likely already put in his trust. Okay, and this is my point. If you listen to the headline, it makes it sound like he only had 1.5 million. He only had 1.5 million outside of his trust. So they're going to go on to explain. The rest of Perry's wealth was likely already put in his trust, called the Alvy Singer Living Trust, which he seemingly named after Woody Allen's character in Annie Hall before his passing. That's peculiar, but we're not going to chase that tangent. When personal property such as cash is left in the decedent's person's name, it needs to be transferred to their trust and distributed to beneficiaries. That's because they didn't transfer it while they were living. If they had transferred it while they were living, then obviously you wouldn't have had to do this probate at all. In the initial estimate of his personal property filed in March, it was believed he had just over $1 million in assets under his name. The updated inventory and inventories in Florida are standard procedures in a probate. They're usually due within 60 days of the letters of administration. That's the court order authorizing the personal representative to gather the various assets. In the updated inventory, the actual amount in Perry's probate estate was determined to be $1.596 million, which was the money in his personal bank account. So again, the moral of the story here is headlines misleading. That's just kind of my general problem with media and I really have a bone to pick with them over the whole, I feel like, hiding of a president's cognitive level. And so I'm hypersensitive to it now after that, because I feel like we were all fed kind of a prepackaged product. And then I see articles like this where it's misleading headline. But the article does go on to teach the good point of you need to have a pour over will, because sometimes you forget to put things in the trust and the pour over will gets them to the trust. But more importantly, make sure you get these things in the trust, because there was no need to probate that at all had he simply titled the account in the trust while he was living, which is a simple procedure to do. So maybe you have a question about pour over wills or funding assets into your trust. Give us a call now and take a lesson from the cautionary tale of Mr. Matthew Perry. Alrighty, 877-943-9673. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Our next caller is going to be Mike in Tampa. Mike, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can we help you today?
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Happy to do it, Mike. What's going on?
Yeah, so we used to live in Tampa. We bought a house here. We moved and rented the house. August 4th of 22, the house was hit by lightning and it burned and was a total loss.
Oh my gosh.
So we filed for the insurance. We got the insurance check, and of course the bank mortgage company was signatory on it. So we went down to the bank and said, co-sign this check, put it in our account. Well, they seized the entire check. So this is a major regional bank that runs a mortgage company on the side. So they seized the entire check. We have rebuilt the house. We've been drawing down from that check to rebill. So I come to find out that under Florida law, the mortgage company must immediately pay out loss of use and contents, which in our case came to $70,000. Then I find out that the mortgage company is only allowed to seize the check to the amount of the mortgage balance at the time of the fire.
Yeah, the amount outstanding.
Yeah, so instead of paying us contents, loss of use, and seizing the proper amount, they seize the whole thing. And so, of course, we had to put $150,000 of our own capital into the rebuild right up front because we couldn't draw down architect fees, engineering fees, demolition, all that stuff. So, we have a case here with a mortgage company that's broken Florida law. I'm looking for an attorney that, is a good litigator and that would be interested in taking a case like this.
Yeah, I've got those referrals. And if you call me at the office on Monday, Mike, at 844-PATRICK, I'll put you in touch with a few of them who will be happy to consult with you and get you a resolution. And it's weird because this is the second, and the other case was involving a mortgage company. The facts were different, but it was basically where a mortgage company got something wrong. It was patently wrong. There was no, ambiguity or misinterpretation. It was just a blatant mistake. And it sounds like that's what's going on here. So there's going to be some sort of remedy for you. My concern is a lot of times when you sign all that mortgage paperwork, buried in there can be a waiver of your right to a trial. You agree to binding arbitration. And
so I understand that. But this is a major regional bank running a scam to seize the insurance proceeds. They put them in an account, they draw interest or invest that money, and then at the end of the term, 2 years, whatever it takes, they refuse to pay interest on the proceeds. So if you can imagine having your house burned down in a conflagration, you lose your contents, you lose your loss of use, so you don't have anywhere to stay, and you come to find out a year and a half later that your bank is running a scam to profit off the proceeds of a customer that's had a catastrophic loss.
Well, two things, Mike. Number one, excellent use of the word conflagration. So I applaud that. And number two, I'm picking up on exactly how frustrated you are. I get it. And I'm sorry you're having to go through this. And I can tell you just want resolution more than anything, but you also want to feel some vindication and feel that someone was held accountable for doing this to you. So I know those guys who can get that legal remedy for you the right way and see that people are held accountable legally. So yeah, just give me a call at the office on Monday, Mike, and we'll get you on that path to getting some peace of mind, putting this nasty chapter of your life behind you and moving forward to a brighter future. Okay.
Thanks very much. It's a great show you have. Thanks for doing it.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you. Have a great Saturday. Okay.
You too.
All righty. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673 to be part of today's show. I'm Attorney Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, and that is the office line if you want to schedule your complimentary estate planning consultation or if you need a referral from me for a different type of attorney or professional. Happy to give you those as well. That toll-free office line, 844-PATRICK, 844-PATRICK, or 844-728-7425. But to be part of the show, 877-943-9673. Going straight to Brian from Largo. Brian, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can we help you today?
Good morning, Patrick. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'll make it real quick here. About 40 years ago, I committed a nonviolent felony in the state of Virginia. I have my civil rights restored. I have a lawyer working on my gun rights up there who says it's not going to be an issue. I should get them back. My question to you is, once I get them back in Virginia, do I need to go to court in Florida and petition the court down here since I'd had them revoked?
Since you have a lawyer, ask him up there, but I'm pretty certain there's reciprocity among the states on this, but your lawyer up there who's already representing you should be able to answer that one for you.
Okay, I didn't know if you knew offhand or if I
No,
could
but
just
I'm pretty
look
sure
at
something like that, there's reciprocity. I don't, it just wouldn't make any sense that it would be state by state, because then every time you move, having to get your rights restored. I mean, that just sounds administratively cumbersome, and the legal system's already, clogged enough. I can't imagine why that would be the rule. So just from a public policy standpoint, it would make sense for there to be reciprocity there. But your attorney
Well,
up there should be able to
is a
confirm that for you.
So I appreciate your time, and I figured that too. I just wanted to double check.
All righty, Brian. Have a great day. And by the way, do you mind telling us what you allegedly did?
Oh, I didn't allegedly do it. One drunk night got talked into a B&E.
Well,
So I was 19 and dumb.
We all make mistakes. Unfortunately, your mistake, Brian, was a felony, and it sounds like you learned your lesson and really turned it around, though.
I'll tell you, I haven't even had so much as a speeding ticket or a driving ticket in 35 years. So
Well, hey.
I definitely turned my life around.
Good for you. Then it was a teaching point, and you can go out there and lecture to other young people about the importance of not getting overserved and committing felonies at this point.
But my favorite saying is, it's only a mistake if you don't learn from it.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it, Brian. I like that positivity, Brian. You have a great Saturday, okay?
Thank you. You do the same, Patrick. Thank you.
See you guys. All right, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. I thought I heard someone else on the call with him. Was that someone else, or was he was solo? Okay, I thought I heard a second voice.
I think he may have had his radio down just slightly in the background.
Ah, that's what it was. All right, and next we're going to go to Fong in St. Pete. Fong, am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Fong, are you Vietnamese?
Yes, I am.
All right. My
Thank
dad
you for
was in
taking my call.
my dad was in Vietnam. He was in Hanoi. I think he was in Cu Chi, Saigon, and he was part of that first wave of invasion into Cambodia in May of 70. What part of Vietnam is your family from?
Binh Dinh, which is right in the middle.
Okay. Well, great. Thanks for calling in. How can we help you today?
Yes, sir. So I have a business, upholstery business, for about 20 years now, and over the years, I've been taking care of the U.S. Coast Guard. So this last job that I was doing, and it takes about close to 2 months or so, because they leave and they would come back, and they would call me so I would continue the job. And I finally finished the job, but for some reason this time, I haven't been getting paid by them. And it's about
I didn't quite make out when you said it. What kind of business is it that you're servicing our Coast Guard?
upholstery business.
Upholstery business.
Yes, sir.
So you like upholster like their, I guess, like marine equipment and that sort of thing?
So their mess hall, anything that has to do with like sewing, canvas,
got it.
beds.
Okay. Do you have
seating.
a service contract with them?
I do not have a service contract with them. They would call and I would go there and do whatever they need to get done.
Well, do a service contract. I mean, that's the mistake we're making here, Fong, is you're doing all this on a handshake, which I no doubt our U.S. Coast Guard is going to honor their word, but just in a matter of public policy and procedures, and you may do business with people who aren't our United States Coast Guard. By the way, thank you to all the members of the United States Coast Guard for keeping us safe. I do see you flying over the house, and thank you for all our other service members out there. But yeah, get a service agreement in place saying, hey, here's the work I'm going to do. Here's when you're going to pay me. Here's how you can pay me, and put all that in writing. Protect yourself. That's just smart business.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you need help drafting something like that, let us know. Okay.
Okay, and it's about like $6,000, and so I don't know I don't want to burn any bridges with them, but how can I move forward with this issue?
Well, I think first of all, don't immediately go adversarial. I think just send them a letter and say, hey, look, I was going through my accounts receivable, and I noticed you guys hadn't paid this bill. Can someone give me a call this week so I can have an update, or let me know what's going on? Just be really nice, and it may be, our bad, Fong. We overlooked it. It was our mistake, and they get you paid right away, and then everything goes away, and you've preserved the relationship. So hopefully that's the way it goes. But that's my advice, Fong. And if that doesn't go that way or go well for you, just call me back. I'll put you in touch with the attorneys who can help you with it if it does go adversarial. But I can't imagine it going adversarial here. But always put a service agreement together so you have clear terms for everybody's performance there.
Yes, sir.
All righty, Fong.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
very
Keep
much.
us posted. Let us know how this turns out, okay?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome, Fong.
Bye-bye.
All righty, 877-943-9673. This is Attorney Patrick Smith, the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. We're going to our next caller right away, John in Crystal Beach. John, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can we help you today?
Hi, Patrick. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I am calling to talk to you about asset protection, living trust. I'm acquiring a piece of real estate that we want to hold for a long term and just rent out. And up until now, we've just bought real estate, renovated it, and sold it under a single LLC. And I've recently been told that maybe that's actually spreading ourselves out to more susceptibility to to potential lawsuits or anything if anything, God forbid, went wrong. Is that true, or am I okay to continue to just buy in the LLC and hold this one?
So the question I think you're asking is, if I have one LLC and multiple properties in the one LLC, am I making the other properties more vulnerable by adding additional rentals to the same LLC? The answer there is yes, you are. So that's why a lot of my clients have individual LLCs for each rental property, just to get that insular protection. And then a lot of times you make it a tenants by the entireties property, where you said you and your spouse.
Yeah.
So you may be able to use tenants by the entireties protection here. That's where all 5 unities are present: time, title, interest, possession, and marriage. So there's lots of additional measures you can take here. So you can do TBE protection, LLC protection. You can add umbrella coverage. I presume you already have umbrella coverage.
I have $1 million policy intact.
It sounds like you have more than one rental property. You may want to up that. Talk to your financial advisor about that, and also talk to them about adding uninsured, underinsured riders. That way, if Knucklehead hurts you or someone in your family and they don't have enough insurance, as it was explained to me, my advisor, you can actually make a claim on your own umbrella. So it sounds like there's some tweaks you need to make there to the overall estate plan and with your financial advisor. But good on you, John, for asking these questions and optimizing your protection.
Okay, so I need to get an additional LLC built, whatever, 123 Main Street LLC before I close on this? Because if I close in my other LLC, I'm going to realize a second closing. Is that correct? Or is that something that could just be transferred?
Are you paying cash?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're paying cash, you can put it in the one LLC and then just transfer it after the fact by quitclaim deed if you want. That's not an issue. The issue would have been if you had a mortgage and then you have to get the lender's approval for the transfer. So no, I think if you're closing, I mean, it doesn't take that long to set up an LLC. When's your closing?
Probably 2 weeks away.
Oh, you've got time to set up an LLC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just build an LLC and close in that name.
Yeah, get your operating agreement, your bylaws, all that standard membership certificates, and then you can, that's an easy goal within 2 weeks, and then you can just take title in the name of the new LLC.
Perfect. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, John. Have a great day. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. You can give us a call next week. The clock's, my gosh, that went by so fast, Joe. That's the 3 hours right there. Yeah, that's it. I mean, we're down to 1:30. Goodness. And I do want to say a very happy birthday, by the way, to my senior-most paralegal, Becky Skipper. Today is her birthday, so happy birthday, Becky. I hope you're having fun, and you're probably not listening to this because it is 8:50 on a Saturday morning, so hopefully you're still sleeping. But if you listen to it on the replay, happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. We appreciate you and all that you do. If you have a legal question for next week, write this number down, 877-943-9673. You can call into my show, Attorney Patrick Smith, the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, and we will be happy to answer all of your legal questions absolutely free of charge. Yeah, I told Joe Weaver before we started the show, I said, today's show, let's just go classic. We're going to do I have tons of show prep we didn't even get to. I said, I just want to do a classic callers and me show. No guests, no interns, just the callers and I. And that's what you gave us today, callers. So I treasure you. I appreciate you. Fantastic job. Great questions. And we will be back with you next week. Call in at 877-943-9673. Those calls on hold, I'll talk to them off the air. So if they want to hold, I'll be happy to speak to you guys. And if you want to reach me at the office during the week, Clearwater, Sarasota, Sun City Center, Claremont, any of our office locations, one easy number, 844-PATRICK, 844-PATRICK, 844-728-7425. Everybody stay safe, God bless, and go Gators.
The proceeding was sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. W282CI Tampa, W262CP Bayonet Point.
Online at letstalkfaith.com or listen on TuneIn and Odyssey.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs.